Hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is Eddie Marcus here again. Now, this particular video that I prepared for you is not as clear as I would like for it to be. However, the message that I have to say it right now, and this is the best I can do for right now. So I'm hoping that the best that I can do for you right now is better than me not doing anything. You see, I wanted to say this to you because many of you blame other people for the situations that we experience as human beings in life every day. And we do this because we do not know where the blame goes. We've always looked at the blame as being outside of ourselves. One thing about it, no human being has the excuse, the luxury of an excuse to get away with saying, the devil made me do it. They made me do it, or anybody else other than yourself, because you are the captain of your fate. You know this. Nobody runs your life but you. Even when other folks try to run it, they can only run it when they have the authority from you. The authority to either carry out certain instances themselves or to have you carry it out for them. So I know many of you think that you have to violate the rules of life in order to live. But what I want you to know, ladies and gentlemen, is when you violate the rules of life, you're not doing that to live. You are doing that in order to die. You see, the rules of life involves, and I want to say this to you clearly, the rules of life involves death. If you only had life and no death, you could not rejuvenate. Look at me now. I'm not as handsome and as gorgeous and wonderful looking as I used to be. And when I did look that way, it made me feel good, and probably made a lot of folks who saw me feel just as well. Now, in order for me to get those looks and that nice skin and tone and hair back, and anything else that I need that's missing, I gotta be born again. That's how I keep on living. I've lived a long time, or should I say I've wasted. See, this is what we do. We don't know what living is all about. We are lost. We don't have the voice of God in our heart. We don't have the voice of God in our ear. So we are just walking along, taking a chance, gambling here and there, hoping that we survive this windstorm. And the reality is that all of the control is in our hands. The master who created us has played it. He has made it to be just that way. We have all the power in our hands. For no man can keep us in bondage unless we agree. If we are in freedom and someone tries to put us in bondage, let us resist to the point of death. And if death comes at our resistance, that death becomes a rebirth, a rejuvenation of life for that one. It's like a seed. Just the other day, I had a plant, and the plant looked like it was a little wimpy. So I took it and I watered it. And it began to look really nice again. The blooms came out, the leaves came out, the stem stood up. And I felt so good that I got a chance to see this plant like this. Now, this was in the evening time. So I woke up the next morning and I looked at the plant, and the blooms had closed up. The stems had folded and bent over the flower pot. The leaves were crumbling up. And I couldn't believe that yesterday it was looking so good. And right now, it was nothing less than dead. But I remembered that the treatment I gave it yesterday worked. It looked like it's too far gone now, but let me just try it again. So I went in and I watered what I thought was a dead plant. And I went and I took care of some other things I was doing. Maybe about an hour. So I came back through there. That plant was standing up just as beautiful as it had ever stood up. The blooms had unfolded, and they were standing up alive and as beautiful as could be. The leaves had unwound and stood back up. The stems had stood back up like it was on steroids. I looked at that and I said, those are the same human qualities that we have. We have this. We can fall, but we can get back up. And when we get back up, after determining how long we've been down, it really doesn't even matter, because to be up is to always be up. So what I'm saying to you, ladies and gentlemen, is that everybody, whether you will admit it or not, is basically against change. People who got some don't want, I don't care how much poverty you get. I don't care how much this poverty causes you to commit crimes. How much this poverty causes you to indulge yourself in activities against people that you are not proud of and they got laws against. They don't care about that. These people want their security. Who am I talking about? I'm talking about everybody that got something. Anybody that's rich is against change. Anybody that's rich, I don't care how much they donate to charity this and charity that, they do not want change. Anything that, because they think it means redistribution. And redistribution might involve them coming out like you. And they ain't going for that. So you see how much they want to stay away from that. You see how much they hate it, as long as it's not, as long as it's you. I mean, as long as it's not them. Well, let me say it right. They hate it at the idea that it might be them. As long as it's you, it's fine. So you can't count on the rich people. They don't give a heck about you being poor. And you can't. And when I say rich people, I'm talking about anybody that got a lot of money. The mob, oh no. You start talking about changing the system, and the mob, they might never have to be without anything that they have today. They would not have to be without it again, ever. But they won't like it that way. They like the power that they have over people. So they will continue to do that. Bankers, preachers, bishops, legislators, your next door neighbors, anybody that has some money, anybody that has some in God we trust, will be against change. Even those who are living from day to day will be against change. And those who are at the street corners with a sign saying we'll work for food, can you help the poor, veteran, homeless, could you help? All of those. They don't even want to stand up for change. No, they just want change to come. Everybody's afraid of change because the powers that be don't want change. And the powers that be will kill you trying to bring about change. And the God who created you will allow you to be killed, because that's how you continue living in paradise. Oh, every paradise you visit, there comes a time when struggles and sin comes and try to take over and try to do everything you can to destroy it. And every time that happens, it becomes your duty, it becomes your responsibility to stand up, even at your death, because in your death lies the continuation of your paradise. Now, I know you're not going to believe this. I know you're not. It's going to be too complicated for you to believe. And even if you believed it, you would never want to practice it. And as long as you are caught up in that, you will always be a slave. You see, we are slaves. I heard just the other day in one of the African towns, there's a lady, 8 months pregnant. I think she's married to a Christian and she won't convert to Islam or something like that. And they want to beat her and kill her by hanging. This is a tradition that they practice in that part of the world. And you know God has nothing to do with that. That's pure D lunacy. That's the devil and that's man. Pure D lunacy. Pure D lunacy. But that's not all. In China, there were some kids singing a song about happy, and they were imprisoned, singing a song about being happy. Now, somebody might say, well, it's not the song that they were singing. It's that they were representing Western culture. Western culture, singing, being happy. It looked like you could do that all over the world. But these were arrested. So that tells you that there's no freedom in China. There's no freedom in that part of the world, Africa. And in America, you get up and ask a question, and you get thrown out or arrested. If you're asking politicians, they don't play that. So where's the freedom? There is no freedom anywhere. And yet you get people out here struggling, hustling, trying to make it from day to day, trying to make it from paycheck to paycheck, trying to think that this is so right, till they're condemning everybody that does not fall in line and be a part of this failed world, this failed system, wanting you to condone it. Just put your hands to it. It might not work, but it'll be better than it is if you don't. Don't believe that. Stand up against everything that you don't like. Stand up against everything that you don't like. Stand up against everything that you don't like. And if you lose your life for it, be grateful that you were able to do it. And you get a chance to escape this hellish world ran by these devilish leaders who don't give a damn about the poor. Nobody has ever given a damn about the poor. And they call themselves superior. They call themselves righteous. They call themselves royalty and have never given a damn about the poor. Poor? You see those rich people at the top? Don't give a damn about you. In fact, they plan on wiping you out. All of you poor people. They got a schedule, an agenda to wipe you out. And those that's not so poor, they're gonna wipe you out. They're gonna wipe you right out too. Why? Because they don't need you anymore. You just a slave that they can call, what they call that? You know what they call it. Collateral damage. They don't need you anymore. They're making machines to do the things that you do, so you don't have to be around. And all the good things that you tried to hold on to, now they can have it. They can't use it because they can't even use what they got, but they got to have it. They got to have it. But God says, let them have it. Don't you whimper to them. Don't you bow to them. Don't you conform to them. Don't you do a darn thing that they like. As long as they don't care about you being poor, they don't care about God. And if they don't care about God, they're supposed to be shunned. And you don't go in a corner. Stand up for God and demand that things be represented the way God would have them represented. Until next time, this is Eddie Marcus saying I'm out of here. Bye-bye.